and I'll have them send that out as well when I get back to the office. But please, there's a short 4-question survey. We're out gathering input from more than 10,000 people. I did a town hall yesterday up in Kissimmee. They had 300 people. You know, we're getting input from more than 10,000 people. So let you tell us what you want your future to look like in the state of Florida, and you'll see us release this report early 2018 after this cabinet and legislature are gone. Then you know, you'll see us come out with this report, and I encourage you to use the results, but first of all, I encourage you to give your input to us. Thank you very much this morning for having me. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
I guess Jerry didn't get that this is an uplifting morning message. So he gets up here, and I've told everyone to put their phones away. The first thing he says, you can pull out your phone and look at this right away. In all seriousness, we're going to send out the slides and the links. And the workshop and the Alliance actually sponsored a Florida Town Hall 2030 event. I believe it was in January, and we had some great feedback from that. The other thing I observed there is that we have revenue in this state of $6 trillion from the visitors. So I think it would be a good idea to reduce the budget for Visit Florida. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm joking. I also met someone this morning I wanted to acknowledge, and that was Mr. Emmett McTeague. Mr. McTeague was one of the original founding members of the Broward Workshop. And Mr. McTeague, will you stand up so we can appreciate you? There you are. I want to introduce our keynote speaker, and it's Special Agent in charge of the FBI Miami branch, George Pirro. And I got to tell you a little funny story. The way it started off is I thought it was Director Pirro. So I'm going on about Director Pirro. And then I got a call. Apparently there's only one guy in the FBI that you can call director, and his name's Comey. So Comey calls me. He goes, what are you doing calling Pirro a director? I said, Special Agent in charge. Now, I don't know whether you've ever seen the Dos Equis commercials where the guy comes on, he's like the most interesting man in the world. I thought so until I met George. Stunning example of the American dream. Born in Beirut, immigrated to this great country. He's a master's degree in foreign service from Georgetown and a master's certificate in Arab studies. He started as a police officer in California before joining the FBI, and then quickly got involved in counterterrorism. That's what I would do. And the most unbelievable part is he was the lead interrogator of Saddam Hussein for 7 months. This was the guy that Saddam talked to every day. So after I got through being interrogated, I invited him to come speak here. George has been deployed throughout the Middle East. He's been the Deputy Assistant Director of the Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate, in charge of high-value detainee group. Those are the really bad guys. And now he's the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Miami branch. And just so you know, the Miami branch is located in Broward and covers the whole Southeast. So this is the man that knows what's going on in our community, and he's going to share that with us. We're very lucky to have him. Please join me in welcoming Special Agent in charge, George Pirro. George is going to say a few words, but I didn't want to not get the chance to ask him some questions. So if we have time when he's done his remarks, we're going to put 2 chairs up here, and I've got some great questions. So George, the mic is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here with you to talk about the FBI's role here in South Florida. The FBI is the premier law enforcement and national security organization in the world with a very simple mission. Our mission is to protect the American people and uphold the U.S. Constitution. It is really that simple, and every employee in the FBI strives to accomplish that mission every single day. What I can tell you about the Miami field office is the Miami field office is the 4th largest field office in the United States. We have nearly 1,000 employees, and our main office is in the wonderful city of Miramar, with 4 smaller satellite offices in West Palm, Homestead, Fort Pierce, and Key West. We cover all of South Florida and a population of about roughly 7 million, north of Fort Pierce all the way down to Key West, but the Miami office is also responsible for all of the Caribbean, Latin, and Central America. As we look at our challenges, what I want to tell you, the things that we focus on here in the Miami field office and really throughout the FBI, of course, is the growing threat that the Islamic State and homegrown terrorism represents. One that really surprises folks is encryption, which is I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. And then the evolving role of law enforcement in the community and the challenges that law enforcement is currently having in regards gaining and maintaining the public trust and confidence. My goal is to drive that message throughout South Florida really for 2 reasons. It's in our community's best interest when we work well together, and it's absolutely in the FBI's best interest when we work together because it really helps us accomplish our mission. We're here to serve our community, and we recognize we need our community's support for us to be effective. We're in an extremely difficult landscape for law enforcement with everything that we do under a microscope. It's more important than ever to work together on bridging the gap between law enforcement and the communities that we serve and protect. So our community engagement efforts are significant and key to our ability to bridge that divide. It is our responsibility to be active in our communities as leaders and as locals. We gain and maintain and strengthen the public trust by staying informed about our communities, using prevention where we can or when possible, and enforcement where we have to. Today, terrorism represents the most significant threat to our country and unfortunately to South Florida. The Islamic State and its growing web of social media efforts is constantly churning out their messaging and promoting a 2-pronged message: come or kill. Come to the Islamic State, which is where Syria and Iraq is, or kill wherever you are. That message is resonating with folks throughout the world, as we have seen throughout attacks, not only here in the United States, but really throughout the entire world. And that message is extremely effective. The effective use of social media, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things, it is absolutely resonating with folks who are susceptible to that violent message. Now, the paradigm of Al-Qaeda still exists, but by breaking the model, ISIL has become the leader in the global Islamic Jihad. Last year, here in South Florida, the Miami office was able to disrupt several plots in our community. And as a result, we were able to make 6 terrorism-related arrests just here in South Florida. Now, there's 2 ways to look at that number. One way is significant accomplishment by a highly dedicated, devoted workforce committed to protecting our community. Second way to look at it is that is a really large number just for South Florida. We had a plot down in Key West, we had a plot in Aventura, and several individuals that were actively trying to join the Islamic State. So unfortunately, terrorism is going to continue to be the number 1 threat that we face, not only here in South Florida, but really throughout the United States. Another big challenge that we face in the FBI is encryption. We call it going dark, because that's what it's really doing to us. It's making us unable to see, and as a result, unable to prevent violent crime, time-sensitive investigations, and of course, terrorism. As our director stated, and there is only one director in the FBI, and that is not me. Encryption shadow is falling across all of our lives, and it's affecting all of our work. So we call it going dark. And going dark is at the intersection of two things we all care about: strong encryption and public safety. We all share the same values. This is not a technical problem, but it's actually a business model problem. So we need those that we serve to know the challenges that we face every day and to understand where we're coming from as we attempt to gain critical information as part of our sensitive and time-critical investigations. Unfortunately, the law enforcement perspective keeps getting lost in the emotional fray that surrounds the debate over encryption. We all have a reasonable expectation of privacy in our houses, cars, devices. But if we in law enforcement have probable cause to believe that there is evidence of a crime, we go to a judge, we get a warrant, and we look throughout that location or an item. Until recently, there's been nowhere in America that couldn't be entered without a court order. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. In the past, there was no car, no closet, no safe deposit box that was not accessible with a lawful, authorized court order. Encryption has changed all of that. And though it's been around for decades, what's really changed is that now it's become the default, covering wide swaths of our lives. And as companies choose to encrypt all of the data on their devices and services, it means that even with a court order, those of us in law enforcement cannot read that data. And because of that, we face an increasing space that can be exploited for criminal purposes and increasingly extend the reach of groups like the Islamic State. This is an issue that can only be resolved by the American people, and we struggle with it every day. Now, I'd like to kind of quickly change directions. As some of you may be aware, and I know you told me to be an uplifting speech, but as some of you are aware, South Florida also happens to be the fraud capital of the United States, with the highest levels of healthcare fraud. This year alone, the Miami office has reached $137 million in restitutions, civil settlements, and recoveries for healthcare fraud. We also serve as the second highest level of corporate and securities fraud. So far this year, our work has led to $186 million in restitutions, civil settlements, and recoveries for corporate securities fraud. We're on pace to see an increase across several programs in fiscal year 2017. For example, in 2016, the work of the Miami field office led to 195 convictions for complex financial crimes. So far, in 2017, we've already reached 99. Last year, we had 112 violent crime and gang-related convictions. So far this year, we have 72. In 2016, we got 45 public corruption convictions. So far in 2017, we're at 29. Last year, we had 159 bank robberies worked by the Miami field office in fiscal year 2016. 74 of those occurred here in Broward, compared to 45 in Miami-Dade and 40 in Palm Beach. This year, we're up to 67 already, with 33, about half from Broward, 16 in Miami-Dade, and 17 in Palm Beach. A surprising change is we've seen an uptick in female bank robbers. That's a new trend for us here in South Florida. I thought you would enjoy that statistic. In FY 2015, there were a total of 4 female bank robbers. The next year, that shot up to 17. And so far this year, we already have 6. But these are just a few of the threats that our office counters. One of the ways that we're looking at tackling these and other issues here in South Florida is by putting an increased focus on our cyber recruitment to enhance our internal capabilities. We recognize that the cyber threat that our country currently faces and will continue to face is going to be significant. As a result, we need folks that are talented, that have that ability or that aptitude, and as a result, we've actively started recruiting. I'm very proud to announce that we're starting a partnership with the Broward County School District to start recruiting and engage in a program to recruit STEM-based students interested in the FBI. We want to recruit them early and provide them opportunities and continuing engagement so that they can look at the government as a potential career path. We're also partnering with federal, state, and local counterparts on task forces at fusion centers and other collaborative efforts to address the area's biggest threats. We're doing more to engage and inform and empower our community and business partners. Together we can bring a better united front against crime in our community. This has been a key to the successful prevention and investigation, and it is imperative that we continue to work together and find opportunities to build on that. I just want to finish before we start taking a few questions. Our office has several different programs that really highlight how unique and, as we believe, has led the FBI to be the premier agency in the world. I can tell you I've been extremely fortunate in my career in the FBI. As you heard, I immigrated to the United States when I was 12. I actually couldn't speak a word of English when I moved here. I became a U.S. citizen at 17, enlisted at 18 in the Air Force, became a police officer at 21, and today I find myself leading the 4th largest office in the FBI. That only occurs in the United States. That is only possible here in the United States. And sometimes that message gets lost in our day-to-day lives. I will tell you, my organization, my office is comprised of 1,000 of the most dedicated, hardworking, committed folks that you will ever meet. Now, some folks have had the opportunity to attend our Citizens Academy, which gives you an insight into the FBI and who really makes up the FBI. Our biggest asset in the FBI isn't our technology, it isn't any of our equipment or capabilities or anything like that. It is actually our employees. It is our workforce that makes us the premier agency in the world. I've had the opportunity to travel, I counted it some time ago, it was like 36 countries in my career as an FBI special agent. And I will tell you, there's nowhere in the world that you can go and say those 3 letters without people recognizing what they represent. The values of the FBI and the effort that the FBI devotes. It usually generates 2 types of reaction. One, respect and confidence. And that's what we want from our community and the citizens that we serve. We want our community and our citizens to have respect for the organization, the tradition, the history, the accomplishments of the FBI, and have the confidence that the FBI is committed to serve its mission to protect the American people. The second that it generates is fear. And we welcome that. We want the folks that we're investigating, those that are committing the crime, whether it's terrorists, healthcare fraud, violent crime, gangs, public corruption, whatever it is, to fear the potential that the FBI may be investigating you, and we always get our bad guys. So with that, I want to thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to be here with you this morning and allow me to tell you a little bit about the FBI, and I look forward to the questions.
Hello. George, first of all, thank you. And I think rather than us sit, I've got a list of questions here that were submitted by Broward Workshop members, so I'm going to let you stay on stage here.
Okay.
And I will deliver each question to you as you answer them. But first of all, is this the coolest guy you've ever met? The first thing I checked out was whether I was one of those guys being investigated. But the first question we had from our members, George, was what keeps you up at night?
You know, I'll be honest, not much keeps me up at night because by the end of the night I am so exhausted that, for me, what really keeps me up, and I have tremendous confidence in the work of the employees of the FBI. Now, I recognize that we cannot prevent everything. You know, for the American public has an expectation that we're going to be 100% correct on every terrorism investigation or things like that, and that's just impossible. We are human beings, so we do make mistakes. For me, the thing that I struggle with the most is I am responsible for 1,000 employees, for their well-being, for their development, for their care. Earlier this year, I lost an agent who had been in the FBI for 30 years, 29 years serving this community in this office. Unfortunately, after taking his mandatory FBI fit test, he suffered a heart attack and died. Having to take his family, his child, the office through that experience was one of the most difficult things that I've done in my career. And it's not something as a leader that you think you ever have to do. So my employees and caring for my employees is what really, I would say, if anything, keeps me up at night.
Thank you, George. You know, we had a tragic incident at the airport last year, and I do know it was this year. I do know it's an active investigation, but what can you tell us about the status, and is there anything we need to know as Broward County about what we should do in the future or didn't do?
As you mentioned, it is an